Engineering from Nagpur University and PhD specialization in Environmental Engineering from SVNIT Surat. Sir has 3 years teaching experience and 2 years research experience. Total 10 papers published in reputed journal and accepted one Indian patent and applied two patents in India. The research area is solid waste management, composting, vermicomposting, and hydrothermal degradation, odors control during the waste management. Sir has actively finished the consultancy work during his PhD. Here is the agenda for today's webinar. Recent advances in industrial and organic waste management is problem of waste management, technique for industrial waste management, technique for organic waste management, composting or vermicomposting, and biogas and hydrothermal degradation. Now, sir, Dayanand, sir,
Yeah,
hello. Now we can start, sir. Please,
yeah, I
you
can hear
proceed.
you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
okay, thank you. Good morning, all of you. Thank you for giving me opportunity. Today I will discuss with you in recent advances in industrial and organic waste management. As you know, solid waste management is a problem of every urban and rural area in India due to increasing population. It is a challenging for the country for the environmental and ecological issue. So in this session, I have divided two parts of solid waste management. First one is due to industrial activity and due to domestic waste. The sources of industrial waste is like cinder slags, waste oil, waste acid, waste alkali, waste plastic, waste paper, food chips, waste rakes, etc. And the municipal solid waste contain 28%, in which organic and plant biomass is 11%, wood is 15%, and others is 31%. So the various sources of waste generations are like agricultural waste, biomedical waste, industrial hazardous waste, electronic waste, plastic waste, chemical waste, municipal solid waste, septic and fecal sludge, and wastewater generation waste. As you know, in India is dependent on agriculture. So it's also produce agriculture around 660 million tons per annum. And among these, 43% of animal dung and slaughter waste. And also there is biomedical waste, but we will not discuss in this biomedical waste. In biomedical waste, generate about 1.5 to 2 kg per day, and it's also produced 450 liter per day of liquid waste. And 85% of solid waste is non-hazardous, and 10% is infectious, and 5% is toxic. And industrial hazardous waste is produced due to rapid industrialization and is generate large quantity of waste in the form of solid and liquid. And despite requirement of pollution control measures, these wastes are generally dumped on the land or discharged into the water bodies without adequate treatment. It thus become a large source of environmental pollution and health hazard. It is estimated that 10 to 15% of industrial waste generated in India is hazardous. Among the industrial waste nowadays, electronic waste is also the major problems in solid waste management sector, which is generating 1.85 million tons per year of electronic waste. And India ranks 5th in the world among top e-waste producing countries. And it is projected that by 2020, e-waste generation in India will be 5.2 million ton per annum. So this will be the huge problem in coming years. So we have to concentrate on electronic waste also. And the main waste also in India is plastic waste, and which I can show you in the flow chart how is generated. By packaging industry, 141 million tons per annum plastic waste are generating. From textile industry is 42 million tons, and other sectors 38 million tons. And transportation 17 million tons. So we are producing huge amount of plastic waste in India. And now another industry in India which is growing more and more is chemical waste. And this industry generate chemicals, and they separate the waste in the form of like organic waste, paper, plastic, glass, metal, e-waste, and mixed. And chemical waste is very hazardous, and we have to treat properly for the chemical waste. And the main domestic waste is municipal solid waste, as you know, according to CPCB, during 2014 to 2015, the MSW waste is 1,43,449 tons per day in India, with average waste is 0.172, 0.62 kg per capita per day. That is, average waste generation in India by a person is 0.172, 0.62 kg per capita per day for small towns to rural area. And another waste is septic and fecal sewage. This waste is also comes in the category of domestic waste, and it comes mainly from the toilet, mostly poor flush and connected to septic tank or single pin leach fields. In India, about 78% of the household resort to confinement of SCADA within their premises using on-site sanitation system. The National Sample Survey 69 round indicate that 97% of the rural household and 99% of the urban household in Kerala have access to improved toilet facility against national average of 39% and 90% respectively. So in India, we have also septic and fecal sewage. So we have to concentrate on this waste also. And if we utilize this waste, we can utilize nutrients. We can convert this waste into nutrients. So this will be also a good research topic in future also. And next waste is generation of waste from wastewater treatment plants. In addition to septic and fecal sewage that is collected in the septic tank, there is also wastewater generated in kitchen, bathroom, etc. To treat the waste from the industrial waste, septic tank waste, we have to design the wastewater treatment plant. Now, what will the impact of the pollution? This pollution impact will be on health, on ecosystem, impact on tourism. If more waste will be produced, then tourism industry will be also goes down. So it also impact on tourism. It pollutes the soils. If more industry is nearby the fertilized soils, then it can reduce the fertility of the soil. It will pollute the water also. So water pollution and air pollution also. Due to solid waste management, huge quantity of odors are created. So it will produce the air also. So we have to focus on waste treatment for the air pollution also. Now, I did recent research for treating industrial waste. As you know, the wastewater treatment design like film treatment, primary, aeration tank, secondary, and final. In primary clarifier, we are getting primary sludge, and also secondary clarifier, we are getting activated sludge. So our main target is to treat this sludge, primary sludge and activated sludge. And if we treat this primary sludge and activated sludge, we can produce value-added material with the help of this sludge. So we can also, by treating this waste, we can produce electrical products, fertilizer, and raw material collection. Like if we treat this product, we can produce brick manufacturing unit. We can use as composting. We can use as hydrothermal pyrolysis. We can use that sludge for the cement clean. And if you have no any treating facility, we can use this sludge for the landfilling. But landfilling is not the suitable option because it will take our large area. It will pollute our water. So landfilling, we cannot suggest landfilling for the municipal authority. So the most important nowadays going on research for how we will treat this waste. So one of the main important technology is biofuels. With the help of wastewater, we can treat wastewater with the help of biofuels technology like hydrothermal carbonization, hydrothermal degradation, and we can produce biodiesel. And next one is biofuel processors. This is the one of the substitutes of the biofuels. And another one is dark fermentation. Dark fermentation involves a series of biochemical reactions in the absence of light and oxygen, where organics are converted into useful products such as hydrogen. Initially, dark fermentation was used as a tool to remove excess carbon through anaerobic digestion. However, producing energy through AD is getting popularity recently. And for dark fermentation, we have to fix the retention time, like 18 days, 30 days. We have to fix the temperature, feedstock, reactor type. It totally depends on temperature, feedstock, and reactor types. And next one is biodiesel and microbial cell fuel. And the important research which is going on nowadays is hydrothermal liquefaction. In hydrothermal liquefaction, we can convert the wet biomass into biocrude or bio-oil. Biocrude having energy density of 34.4 mg kilogram could be produced from wastewater by microalgae. STL does not require dewatering as the moisture in biomass helps to produce oil under higher pressure and temperature. This is the instrument for the hydrothermal process, and with the help of this hydrothermal process, we can categorize the waste treatment into reduction, toxification, and recycling. That means we can reduce the sludge, we can treat the sludge and produce bio-oil, or we can, after treating the sludge, we can use as a substitutes of fertilizer also. We can also treat by using this treatment technology, plastic waste we can treat, radioactive waste we can treat, fly ash we can treat, and recycling also we can do, like biomass waste, electrical waste, glass waste, and food waste. So recently more research is going on for the hydrothermal degradation. We can also manage e-waste using same process for the hydrothermal treatment. Okay, and we can make oil products and solid product also for the electronic waste. So I already told you previously that electronic waste is also a main problem in India. So we can treat the electronic waste with the help of hydrothermal degradation. For treating the e-waste, we have to maintain the temperature like 33, 32, 350 centigrade, or time will be 1.2 to 1.5 hours. So again, we can increase the temperature like 400 degrees centigrade, 420 degrees centigrade, and we have to play with the time. Either we can 39.7 minutes, 90 minutes. It depends on the research, how we are doing the research. So e-waste can be treated with the help of hydrothermal degradation. And next treatment technology is also biopesticides, biosurfactant, and bioflocculants. And we can also recover the nutrients from the waste sludge, like we can recover the nitrogen, we can recover the phosphorus. Because as you know, when we treat the sludge, it will convert into the fertilizers, and that fertilizers we can use for the crops growth. So with the help of recovery of this sludge, we can recover nitrogen and phosphorus, usually very helpful for the plant growth. Now, how we can deal with organic waste treatment? Before going this slide, I will go previous and I will tell you what we did with industrial sludge. Industrial sludge, we did biofuels, biofuel precursors, dark fermentation, biodiesel, microbial fuel cell, hydrothermal liquefaction, hydrothermal carbonization, biopolymers. Already I discussed this process, hydrothermal degradation, e-waste management by hydrothermal degradation. Plastic, e-waste and plastic waste, both we can manage with the help of this technology, hydrothermal degradation, biopesticides and biosurfactant and bioflocculants. And with the help of that sludge, we will get nitrogen recovery and phosphorus recovery. Now we have to treat the organic waste. So how we can treat the organic waste? The commonly used method, which is nowadays going on in all over the world for the treatment of the organic waste, is composting. And composting is also doing by so many types, like agitated or window pile composting, rotary drum composting, aided pile composting, and vermicomposting. After that, we can also use another treatment technology like biogas. Next is biomass briquetting, nutrient flow using insect, pyrolysis, gasification, and last is if you cannot treat the organic waste, we can suggest go for sanitary landfill. So now I will discuss one by one composting methods. Before going to the method, I will give you the concept of composting. Actually, composting is the mixture of organic waste and animal manures and bulking agent. So we mix the feedstock and it requires oxygen, water, and microorganism, and which generate carbon dioxide, water, and heat, and produces mixed compost. Similarly, vermicomposting is the same like composting, but for the vermicomposting, we use earthworm. For vermicomposting, the most earthworm used in this process is Eisenia foetida. Now, what are the factors affecting for the composting and vermicomposting? For composting, the main factor is the nature of the feedstock. That means how feedstock behaves, how much moisture content is there. So feedstock is the main parameter for the composting and vermicomposting. If moisture content will be more, we have to add the bulking agents. If the degradation rate is very slow, we have to add the animal manures. And next is temperature, then moisture content, pH and electrical conductivity, total organic carbon, total nitrogen, C by N ratio, ammonical nitrogen, CO2 ovulation, and germination index. These are the parameters from which we can find the compost parameters. Now I'm discussing a case study for the windrow pile composting. We took flower waste, cordon, and bulking agents. We took sawdust and dry leaves. We form a windrow pile of length 2700 mm, width is 600 mm, and height 400 mm, and top width is 250 mm, and composting time was 60 days. And we also turned the pile in 3-day interval, and our sampling frequency was 3 days. Based on that result, we analyzed temperature, and temperature was near to 55 to 60 degrees centigrade initially, and we also find the ambient temperature for comparing the data. So based on that, we took 5 trials, and in between the 5 trials, we found that 70 kg, 20 kg, and 10 kg. That means 70 kg flour waste, 20 kg cow dung, and 10 kg dry leaves was the suitable for the composting. We also find pH, EC, CO2 evolution rate, organic carbon, and S content to show how much the maturity of the compost. Maturity means we can use these parameters to check whether compost is suitable for the growth of the plant or not. After experimentation, during the experimentation, you can see in 0 day, the pile was like this, and 9th day, it changes, and 15th day, it also produced the leachate. This figure shows that how bulking agent play an important role during the composting. If we will not add the bulking agent, composting will not work. That means we cannot make compost. And if we will not add the bulking agent, it will produce leachate. So if you plan to do the composting, so keep in mind, bulking agent is very important for the composting. So you have to add bulking agent. You can also see the reduction of physical properties of windrow pile initial day, 9th day, and final compost. This also change the size of the windrow. So when you will start any composting pile, you have to measure the initial piles and final piles. So it will be very good for your data analysis. Now I'm showing you a case study of windrow pile at Khajod composting plant, Surat. Initially, we start to segregate the waste and we also find how much organic waste are coming on the soil waste side. So we saw that only 20 to 25% is organic waste, remaining are plastic, cloth, and construction demolition. As you see in pictures, how waste are look like. So most of the waste in this Surat we observed was textile clothes. You can see in this video segregation, how they are doing the segregation during the sites. We have one instrument in which we put the sieve like less than 25 micron, it depends, and we segregate the plastic waste. Initially, we saw in Surat Municipal Corporation site, there was no properly treatment of the waste. They just put the waste and make the heap, and they are saying that this is compost. But that was not a good quality compost. Thus, it's only natural degradation. In this pile, we found that turning was missing, heap was not in proper size. And also, the main problem was leachate during the composting process. The site was full of leachate and it produced lots of odors at the sites. You can see in this figure also how the site was looking. You can also show one video how they was doing the dumping. Now, this is the segregation of solid waste. First, they collect the waste by the transportation, and then they segregate the waste. And now you can see in this video how they segregate the waste. That means how they remove the plastic from the waste. After this, when we went this site, we now started to make piles in a good manner. Like we maintain this size of the piles, and we started to proper turning of the piles also. We started to turn the piles with the help of turner also. And after finishing the whole process, we sieve the compost with the help of segregation technique also. You can see this instrument. Now this is the final compost. We produce final compost, and all this work we plant properly, and nowadays the plant is working very well.